Now, it's recently come to my attention that I've once again become a jaded boomer asshole about video games. And this is no surprise to me, it's happened several times before, as I've lived through the death of all of my favorite games of all time. And so I figured if the future looks bleak, it might be time to look towards the past, and remind myself why I fell in love with gaming in the first place. And along the way, I'll attempt to answer the question, does the 360 hold up? Now, first things first, we'll have to take a dip into Jester's childhood trauma coping mechanisms and find ourselves our first game.
They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck. Was I wrong?
This ain't good.
Damn. How far did he fall?
2 kilometers, easy.
Stay sharp. Gorman?
His armor's locked up. Gel layer could have taken most of the impact. I don't know, Sergeant Major.
Radio for VTOL. Heavy lift gear. We're not leaving him here.
Yeah, you're not.
Oh, crazy fool. Why do you always jump? One of these days, you're gonna land on something as stubborn as you are. And I don't do bits and pieces. Where is she, Chief? Where's Cortana?
Don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it.
She stayed behind.
Corporal, make it quick.
Sorry, sir. Your armor's still in partial lockdown.
Chief, wait! The Arbiter's with us! Come on now. We've got enough to worry about without you two trying to kill each other.
Were it so easy. We must go. The brutes have our scent.
Then they must love the smell of badass. And I left a little present for you, Arbiter, and I'm walking away.
Now we're obviously going to start first off with the campaign, which I see as an incredible campaign and the last chronological good Halo campaign. From this point forward, I think the games took a steep downward turn in quality. And what's funny is I just recently saw a TikTok claiming that sure, Halo 4 had its problems, but one of its strong points was that it showed a humanity to Master Chief's character. Because, of course, in Halo 4, Master Chief is an old fuck, and Cortana is his crazy bitch wife. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played Halo 4 in a while. Maybe that's a misread, but I'll also maybe revisit Halo 4 at some point in this series if it takes off in some way, or is easy enough to make. But the thing is, I think this idea that Halo 4 made Master Chief human where he was before just a killing machine is a complete misread of, at bare minimum, Halo 3. Halo 3 has the most human Master Chief by far. And I would say this because it all comes down to the subtleties in character that play out throughout Halo 3's cutscenes, which I'm going to be showing in full throughout basically this whole game, because I think most of us could use a substantial refresher to this long-lost gem that many of us haven't played in a while, I imagine. You see, the thing is, Master Chief is supposed to be a killing machine. That's what he was designed for. It's what the Spartan Project was designed for, and he's the last one left. He is the perfect weapon against the Covenant and the perfect soldier. He always finishes the fight. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to have snappy one-liners here or there, and subtle moments where his humanity boils to the surface. Within this very first cutscene, we can very clearly see this on display, when his first instinct upon noticing the Arbiter's presence is to charge headforth and attack the Covenant member, the elite that he sees as an enemy, fulfilling his role as a soldier and a weapon in this army. But even after learning that the Arbiter is on their side, the bad blood between him and his assumed enemy is enough to make him question that. On the other side of the equation, we also have the Arbiter, who exists in basically the same situation as the Master Chief. He too is an elite warrior in his faction and expected to act as a soldier. But even despite that, this immediate distrust that you see between these two characters is palpable, even coming down to an implied disrespect between them, delivered with the line, "Were it so easy." The Arbiter is upset at the fact that Master Chief would think that it would be so easy to kill him, enough so to express that despite the magnum in his mouth. And even after it's been made clear that these two are reluctant allies for the time being, there's still the moment just after where the Arbiter disrespectfully pulls himself away from the Master Chief's grip, and the Master Chief similarly refuses to let go with ease. These two characters clearly distrust each other and don't have a respect for one another, and this is such a perfect encapsulation for them as characters at this moment. Two soldiers who have seen endless war between their factions, who by happenstance now have to work together, despite their personal grievances. And while their characters express themselves to each other through their distrust, both the Arbiter and the Master Chief have personal stakes within the conflict going on. The Arbiter wants revenge against the Prophet of Truth for lying to his people and disgracing him, and the Master Chief is haunted by these hallucinations of Cortana after having abandoned her in Halo 2. In my eyes, this is a ton of personal struggle and character traits to have for a character that people describe as just a soldier. And I think the story of Halo 3 is really told through the subtleties that take place in its cutscenes. This intro section gives us a really nice jumping off point and an intense degree of investment in fighting back against the Covenant, and later on the Flood. And one of the ways that we'll fight back against the Covenant is by using the battle rifle. In my opinion, the greatest weapon in all of FPS gaming. Quite possibly the greatest weapon in all of gaming. The BR functions perfectly for what it is, both in the campaign and also within the PvP. The BR is designed so that you'll have perfect accuracy within your reticle, which makes sense for an elite warrior like Master Chief to have perfect control over his accuracy, and builds towards an immersive combat experience because your weapon isn't arbitrarily nerfed by damage fall off from range, by muzzle velocity, or any of the other arbitrary modern FPS weapon systems. The BR just is what it is, and it functions perfectly for what it is. If you aim at a target, you're going to land your shots within your reticle, and the only way that you'll be outside of the effective range of the weapon is if you are quite literally outside of the effective range of the weapon. Your spread will determine the amount of shots that land and the damage that you deal, and reduce your odds of landing a headshot. And best case scenario, your weapon has a scope on it, such as the BR does, which can reduce that spread by increasing your magnification, but only until you take damage. I really think modern games should take a look back at why Halo felt so good to play, because the thing is, it really nails the fundamentals of gunplay. If you're missing your shots with the BR and various other weapons that play the same, such as the carbine, it's likely because you're outside of the range where the weapon would be effective, or you're in a situation where you can't scope down, or you suck and you're missing. And both of those situations can be remedied by player intervention, by interacting with the game. You can either get good and land your shots, or find a closer position towards your target. I've expressed before how I hate the modern reliance on the blooming reticle system where far too much RNG is placed between you and your success. And again, it's not like Halo 3 doesn't have RNG with its bullet spread. That RNG is just so minute that it only affects you in certain circumstances where you're clearly reaching, and that might potentially pay off if you get lucky. And this is only the precision weapons that I'm talking about, the more competitive ones that you would see more frequently in high-tier PvP. Again, I'll say that the BR functions perfectly in Halo PvP, specifically because of the way that the shields work. Within Halo, you won't take bonus damage to the head until your shield is depleted, at which point precision weapons like the BR and Carbine will one-shot you. And so the meta with the BR was to land 4 of your shots to the body, only really ensuring that that last final 4th burst would break the shield with a shot that hit your opponent's head, resulting in the perfect 4-shot BR kill. The perfect time to kill for a basic weapon. Outside of the precision weapons, I think a lot of the weapons in Halo, even the mundane ones, have really distinct powerful effects that make them all unique. Even the humble plasma pistol, the weapon of the grunts, can be used as one of the most effective weapons in your kit for breaking shields. The unique way that its charged attack was designed, as an anti-shield mechanic and an EMP device, makes it a staple weapon that you'll never really regret picking up. And I think it's kind of telling that in Destiny's history, throughout all of their exotic weapons, they've never really had a weapon that was quite as unique and powerful as the plasma pistol. Because Halo 3 is more a game about tearing down the enemy's defenses bit by bit, chipping away at them, or by using some sort of finesse to overcome the difficulties. And so each weapon in the sandbox fulfills its purpose in unique and interesting ways that interact with the enemy units. It's a really sad comparison to compare to Destiny, specifically because that game has a billion weapons, and the only thing they can really be used to do is to infinitely farm out a million adds, or deal one big hit of damage to an elite enemy, or boss DPS. Where Halo 3 really shines and where Destiny kind of fails is that each piece of equipment and weapon you pick up throughout the level is finite, is a resource that you have to use to effectively beat whatever challenge you have ahead. And that could be turrets, giving you a third weapon that's carryable but reducing your movement speed, or by effectively utilizing your equipment slots, which the counterpart in Destiny would be like the cooldown based abilities you'd have through your subclass, which are always with you and make the combat pretty stale eventually. But in Halo, one of the core concepts of the combat is that Spartans are trained to pick up new weapons as they go, to improvise with the flow of the combat, and to use their resources accordingly. And that is certainly not just talk. It's not just something that was written in the little pamphlet you get inside the case, but that's also something exemplified by the combat, especially so if you play on the higher difficulties. And if you really know the game well and know the weapons well, you go from constantly being out of ammo and wasting your shots to instead really flexing on the enemies and taking down their defenses one by one. You really feel like that Spartan who's unstoppable, the one the Covenant talk about by claiming you're a heretic and a demon. Now, the one exception to the weapons and utilities of this game being infinite are the vehicles, including the ever-reliable Warthog. Man, we've really come a long way from Halo 3, haven't we? The vehicles throughout Halo all have some degree of infinite ammo to them, or infinite gas, infinite utility, but this in itself is tempered by an interesting mechanic of having to get the most out of the combat potential of the vehicle while keeping the vehicle alive, engaging it within the combat without taking so much damage that you explode and die. And also alongside that, the vehicles of the game will not always be immediately available to you in the perfect condition. You're often going to have to liberate them from the enemy forces, and you'll have to attempt to do so without damaging the vehicle as much as possible. The gameplay of which is often very interesting because of the complex way that a lot of the vehicles were designed and the many bits and pieces that build into them. The Wraith, for example, will have a gunner at the front, meaning that the EMP of the plasma pistol is not the only thing that will guarantee your victory. You'll have to find a way to either subvert or eliminate the gunner, depending on if you want to destroy or use the vehicle. And as well as that, you can also crack the hatch by meleeing or dealing damage to the Wraith to allow yourself a headshot on the driver. And besides any of those options, there's also the boarding mechanic, which allows you to attempt to hijack the vehicle, or in the case of the Wraith, plant an explosive inside of its engine. destroying it instantly. The variation of combat that can take place is almost always going to have some sort of interesting, ridiculous situation play out, largely due to how well designed the physics engine is in Halo 3. And along that same line of thought of taking down a vehicle's defenses, the Scarab fights are also another interesting combat scenario that plays out in Halo 3, where you are greatly encouraged to use the provided firepower to take down the spider tank's legs, which allows you to jump on board and begin sieging the vessel. However, Halo is definitely a game that encourages you to get creative with the ways you approach things. Your only real goal is to break the core at the back of the Scarab, which is protected from all angles except from the inside. And every Scarab fight in the game has a way that you can board it without bringing down its legs, which allows you to break that core in a much more kick-ass cowboy, Master Chief-esque way. And I think the thing that's most impressive about the Scarab tanks is just how many pieces come together to define that experience. For one, you have the legs you can bring down. For two, you have the body of the Scarab itself, which has many platforms and positions to walk through. And then you have the crew of the Scarab, the many Covenant members who will block your path and prevent you from accessing the core. And then you have the plasma turrets, which you can rip off to save yourself some ammo if you have the time to do so, in order to destroy the core and flee the subsequent explosion in time. This combat scenario can play out as either a frantic, crazed battlefield with a bunch of Marine NPCs shooting rockets all over, or it can play out with the Master Chief fucking trick flipping his way onto the thing's back, slipping past the defenses and destroying the core, blowing everything to bits in a matter of minutes. It's really up to you, and no matter how you approach it, it's almost always epic, with a final explosion that has excellent visual and sound design. And yes, Carter, you can use mass to take one down too, but I'm pretty sure if Master Chief was in that scenario, he would have jumped out of the Pelican and kicked the thing's ass before it ever even became a problem for anyone else. No disrespect to Halo Reach, I do love Halo Reach. This level will also contain your first Hunter fight, which is kind of like an on-foot version of the Scarab fight, but instead this time you're tasked with destroying two hulking monsters with impenetrable armor and minimal weak points. If you're lucky, you'll have saved yourself some explosives so that you can blow out their back and give yourself a bigger opening for attack. But other than that, you'll mostly just matador these guys around and fire shots whenever you can. I more appreciate these guys for the spectacle of it all. I think they're one of the weaker combat situations in the game. I kind of miss one-shotting them with the Magnum in Halo 1.
All ships, fire at will.
This is the way the world ends.
What did Truth just do? Did he activate the rings?
No, sir. But he certainly did something.
Evac wounded and regroup. Wherever Truth went.
Sir, new contact slipping in.
What is it? More brutes?
Worse.
Now, this is our first look at the Flood within Halo 3, but I believe this is also the first time that the Flood have reached Earth. But I also, before we get away from it, wanted to point out another subtlety within the last cutscene that takes place when Truth flees from us, which causes the Arbiter to yell in frustration, and has the Master Chief glancing at him, acknowledging his discontent. Anyway, with the introduction of Flood into this game, we also get a new Flood unit compared to the previous titles, which is this transforming monster that can turn into a crab-like configuration, a more hulking, high HP melee configuration, and also a stationary turret. The cool thing about this creature is that its transformative properties are also its weakness, as it can be one-shot meleeed anytime it's transforming or when it's in turret mode, if you can reach it at that point. This is also the reintroduction of the Gravemind character, who both the Arbiter and Master Chief have had interactions with in the past.
Chief.
Cortana?
High Charity, the Prophet's holy city is on...
Cortana!
Reclaimer. I must act quickly before your construct suffers any further
Wait.
trauma.
Leave her alone.
If we do not take this device to a safe location, somewhere I can make repairs.
On Halo, you tried to kill Cortana. You tried to kill me.
Protocol dictated my response. She had the activation index, and you were going to destroy my installation. You did destroy my installation. Now I have only one function, to help you, Reclaimer, as I always should have done.
Will it live, Oracle? Can it be saved?
Uncertain. This storage device has suffered considerable trauma. Its matrices are highly unstable.
Perhaps one of our technicians.
That will not be necessary.
Chief.
Success!
High Charity, the Prophet's holy city is on its way to Earth, with an army of Flood. I can't tell you everything. It's not safe. The Gravemind, it knows I'm in the system.
It's just a message.
Let it play.
But it doesn't know about the portal, where it leads. On the other side, there's a solution, a way to stop the Flood, without firing the remaining Halo rings. Oh! Hurry, Chief. The Ark. There isn't much time.
I'm sorry.
No matter, Oracle. We've heard enough. Our fight is through the portal, with the brutes and the bastard Truth.
Fine. We'll remain here. Hold out as long as we can.
Did you not hear? Your world is doomed. A Flood army, a Gravemind, has you in its sights. You barely survived a small contamination.
And you, shipmaster, just glassed half a continent. Maybe the Flood isn't all I should be worried about.
One single Flood spore can destroy a species. Were it not for the Arbiter's Council, I would have glassed your entire planet.
Sir, with respect, Cortana has a solution.
Cortana? Did you see her condition? How damaged she is? She could be corrupted for all we know. Her solution could be a Flood trap.
We should go through the portal. Find out for sure.
What we should do, Commander, is understand, clearly, that this is humanity's final stand. Here, at Earth. We go, we risk everything. Every last man, woman, and child. If we stand our ground, we might just have a chance.
No. If your construct is wrong, then the Flood is already won.
I'll find Cortana's solution, and I'll bring it back.
Earth is all we have left. You trust Cortana that much?
Sir, Yes, sir.
This is either the best decision you've ever made or the worst. Hell of it is, Chief. I doubt I'll live long enough to find out which.
At this point, the elites and the humans have some serious contention between them. The elites don't really care if humanity survives, they just want truth, and the humans just want to survive this conflict. And so how do they go about easing the tensions between the two factions? Well, they do a Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial, the original version. Except this time, it's actually pretty meaningful, because both factions are on equal footing with one another, former enemies, now reluctant allies, and both of which need weaponry. And so the exchange of weaponry here, which is met on both sides with indignation at first, is then rectified by both parties receiving the opposite faction's weaponry in return, which is a physical representation of how both factions will receive a mutual benefit from allying with each other. And again, within this last cutscene, we were presented with several subtle moments that further develop the characters of Arbiter and Master Chief. You can see this within the moment where Cortana is suffering, and the Master Chief reacts in a very human way, leaning into what he knows is a message, which expresses his concern. The scene continues with the elites pressuring the humans to go along with this plan, because their only goal is to take out the Prophet of Truth, while also defeating the Flood in the process, hopefully. They don't have a home planet to lose at this point. And so the conflict continues with Miranda and Lord Hood, who are both Master Chief superiors, arguing about the decision at hand. Miranda believes we should push forward with the plan, find Cortana, and stop the Flood once and for all. Whereas Lord Hood, worried about the citizens of Earth, wants to just bunker down and hope they survive. And while all this is going on, it's very clear where Master Chief's opinions lie. He absolutely wants to go after Cortana, but being a proper soldier here, he keeps his mouth shut and his opinions to himself, allowing his superiors to discuss it amongst themselves. And it's only after the Arbiter, his now ally who he's fought several battles with, speaks up and voices his opinion that they should go through with this plan, that Master Chief then backs him up, allowing him to express the opinion he's held all along, that he trusts Cortana. And while I don't think that the Master Chief and the Arbiter are best buds at this point, it definitely shows a reflection that they've gotten over the disrespect and distrust they had within the original first cutscene. It seems that they're very much on the same page and that their goals align quite nicely. This mission ends with a confrontation where you're allowed to 1v1 this brute chieftain, which is kind of a cool almost Easter egg, because I imagine a lot of people just open fire whenever they see these enemies. However, so long as you only target the chieftain, the rest of his homies just kind of stay to the side and watch your fight. Just until the point where he loses the fight, and they're all bad sports about it and attack you all at once.
Commander.
Johnson, look sharp.
I got it.
No, don't shoot. They mean us no harm. Those units have a priority task.
Oh, yeah?
And what might that be?
I really can't say. Not for sure. But if you allow me to find a terminal closer to the core.
We must keep the Prophet far away, those sites.
But what about your construct? Your solution to the flood? With more data,
Barbara's right. We have priorities too. Until we kill Truth, stop the rings from firing, nothing else matters. We hit these 3 generators, and the barrier will fall?
A small section, yes.
Good enough. Johnson, drop the chief at the first generator, then head to the third. The elites will punch right down the middle.
Roger that.
Charlie, Foxtrot. Tower 1 approach is active AAA.
Mayday! I can't control her!
Pelican down! Pelican down!
Brace yourselves, we're going in a little hot!
Now this next mission will have us assaulting several control towers that are powering a defensive barrier that's protecting the Prophet of Truth, separated into 3 teams, being the elites, Sergeant Johnson, and Master Chief alone, basically. I do wonder if it's even possible to have any of the Marines that drop with you survive up until that point. And while I've been pointing out a bunch of the subtleties in Master Chief and the Arbiter's character throughout this video, I would also like to point out that Guilty Spark has some interesting lines of dialogue that build towards the reveal at the end of the game. Specifically how they're not exactly worried whatsoever about the Prophet of Truth, and that they're much more focused on retrieving Cortana. Now this mission is also kind of known to be the Hornet mission, where you're presented with a Hornet in order to reach the location of the third control tower after Johnson's team is intercepted, and he's once again taken hostage. And after dealing with his control tower, we'll progress towards Truth, and once again be presented with Hornets, but this time we're tasked with taking down 2 Scarabs that are blocking our path. And one of the interesting things about this mission, and this combat set piece specifically, is that the AI Marines are programmed to pilot the Hornet and position you just above the Scarab so that you can perform the boarding and destroying the core process. And after that point, they will then fly to you once more to pick you up. Unfortunately here, I accidentally hijacked the Hornet, leaving the helpful Marine on the doomed Scarab before I transition to the next one. And after dealing with the defenses, we can enter this structure.
It asked, and I answered. For a moment of safety, I loosed damnation on the stars.
My faithful, stand firm. Though our enemies crowd around us, we tread the blessed path. In a moment I will light the rings, and all who believe shall be saved.
Chief, how close are you?
Not close enough.
That the best you got? Oh, come on. Impress me.
Stop, you imbecile! He wants you to kill him. I'd prefer that you did not.
What's the matter, big shot? Can't start your own party?
I admit, I need your help. But that secret dies with all the rest.
Johnson! Sound off!
Get out of here!
Not without you.
You delay the inevitable. One of you will light the rings. You cannot hope to kill them all.
You're right.
Do it. Me and you. Now! No!
Your forefathers wisely set aside their compassion, steeled themselves for what needed to be done. I see now why they left you behind. You were weak, and gods must be strong.
Do not shoot, but listen. Let me lead you safely to our foe. Only you can halt what he has set in motion.
which presents us with a unique scenario where the Gravemind is offering to help us by using his flood to siege the Prophet of Truth's control center in an attempt to prevent him from activating the Halo rings. It's really interesting the way the factions kind of flip-flop between motivations because the two major antagonists have such interesting and opposing doomsday scenarios for us.
Stop the rings. Save the rest.
Can you see, Arbiter? The moment of salvation is at hand.
It will not last.
Your kind never believed in the promise of the sacred ring.
Lives for the weak, beacons for the deluded. I will have my revenge. On a prophet, not a plague.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
You will be food, nothing more.
No! I am truth, the voice of the Covenant.
Asshole, you must be silenced. Now the gate has been unlatched, headstones pushed aside, corpses shift and offer room. A fate you must abide. We trade one villain for another. What do you see? Replacement. The ring you destroyed.
When did you know?
Just now. But I had my hopes. What will you do?
Light it.
Then we are agreed. A tactical post will completely eradicate the local infestation. I will personally oversee the final preparations, though it will take time to fabricate.
How will you light it?
I'll round up our survivors, fall back to the dawn. Arbiter will do the same with the elites. Cortana's in there somewhere.
After that bout of cutscenes, I think it's safe to say that the Master Chief and the Arbiter's relationship has progressed quite a bit. They've entered the Yowie the Arbiter roaring his victory is both acknowledged and encouraged by the Master Chief, with the act of a simple nod. And again, all of this is very personal. It's not the act of soldiers, it's Arbiter expressing an emotional reaction, and the Master Chief encouraging that because he understands him. Following that, they both lock hands in an attempt to flee the incoming flood, despite being knocked off of the Pelican by one of the Gravemind's tentacles. And following that, they go back to back, quite literally getting each other's backs. I would absolutely say at this point, they are much more than reluctant allies. Now following all of this, we enter the Cortana level, a level that is entirely flood-based. And the flood combat has one unique element that switches it up most dramatically from Covenant combat, and that's because you're not just tearing down the enemy bit by bit and slowly progressing towards your objective, but you're near constantly having to prevent the flood from regaining that lost ground. You've ripped apart these undead, shooting their limbs off and eventually dropping them, but that's not enough. You have to destroy their bodies, otherwise the floodlings can come by and reanimate them, and if there's no bodies to reanimate, the floodlings themselves will just push you and pop on you for a little bit of damage. It feels a lot slower, and in a way encourages you to subvert as much of the combat as possible by slipping past things you don't want to have to fight multiple times over.
You found me. But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
You know me. When I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Lucky me. Do you still have it?
The activation index from the first Halo ring. A little souvenir I hung on to, just in case. Got an escape plan?
Thought I'd try shooting my way out. Mix things up a little.
Just keep your head down.
And shooting your way out you do, cutting your way through the flood, blocking your path as you exit the exploding spaceship, content now that you have Cortana back by your side. But as you make your way out of this solo lone wolf operation, you'll eventually see that the fucking Arbiter with a flamethrower was entered this ship in an attempt to help the Master Chief exit successfully. Which is kind of weird because the last thing we've heard from him is that he was regrouping with his elites. I'd like to think that he, of his own volition, chose to meet the Master Chief here to guarantee his success in his mission and to help him with his personal quest of retrieving Cortana, just as the Master Chief had helped him defeat the Prophet of Truth.
We are aboard. Humans and elites. Will you not come with us, brother? No. This is our fight. And I will see it finished.
Johnson, do you have the frigate?
Yes, ma'am. I'll land her as close to the control room as I can.
Safe is better than close, Sergeant Major.
Roger that. And ma'am, it's good to have you back.
Halo. It's so new, unfinished. I'm not exactly sure what will happen when we fire it.
We'll head for the portal, and we'll all go home.
Yank me, Chief.
I'm not gonna lose her, too.
Oh, hello. Wonderful news. The installation is almost complete.
Terrific.
Yes, isn't it? I have begun my simulations. No promises, but initial results indicate this facility should be ready to fire in just a few more days.
We don't have a few more days.
But a premature firing will destroy the Ark.
Deal with it.
Will destroy this installation. Unacceptable! Unacceptable! Absolutely unacceptable! Protocol dictates action! I see now that helping you was wrong! You are the child of my makers, inheritor of all they left behind. You are Forerunner. But this ring is mine.
I'm getting you out of here.
No, you're not. No, don't let her go. Don't ever let her go. Send me out with a bang.
Chief, I'm so sorry.
I am sorry, Spartan. But come.
And all of this will eventually bring us to Johnson's Warthog to complete the legendary Warthog run. I have so many fond memories of completing co-op runs with my brother, with all the gamer friends I had throughout high school, completing the VidMaster Challenge version where 4 of you had to complete the Warthog run with ghosts. It is such a perfect way to cap this game, both as an homage to Halo 1, but also as the characters Master Chief and the Arbiter had stuck through this mission side by side and will now exit the mission together with the Arbiter as your gunner as you work your way through these collapsing structures. It really hasn't lost its impact over the years, just how powerful it is to see this entire superstructure be destroyed bit by bit while you traverse its unfinished surface. And that final jump into the hangar of the ship that you'll attempt to exit the portal through is really just an incredible cinematic moment to cap off the gameplay sections of this campaign.
Chief! If we don't make it,
We'll make it.
it's been an honor serving with you, John.
For us, the storm has passed. The war is over. But let us never forget those who journeyed into the howling dark and did not return. For their decision required courage beyond measure, sacrifice, and unshakable conviction that their fight, our fight, was elsewhere. As we start to rebuild, this hillside will remain barren, a memorial to heroes fallen. They ennobled all of us, and they shall not be forgotten.
Present! Up!
I remember how this war started, what your kind did to mine. I can't forgive you. But you have my thanks for standing by him to the end. Hard to believe he's dead.
Were it so easy. Things look different without the Prophet's lies clouding my vision. I would like to see our own world, to know that it is safe.
Fear not, for we have made it so.
By your word, Arbiter.
Take us home.
Jesus fucking Christ, what a horrible, horrifying message to read after one of the most beautiful endings to a game I've ever played. Like, knowing the future of Bungie, this sent chills down my spine to read. Continue to kick ass for many more years. If only they knew how few years they had left. Anyway, at this point, I don't think I need to describe to you how powerful and well-founded many of the character moments were in that final cutscene. From the Arbiter and Chief nodding at each other to acknowledge each other's safety, to Cortana revealing the fact that the Master Chief's name is John Halo, using it to show that she truly thinks of him more than just a machine of war, but as a human that she cares about. And the redefining of the phrase, "were it so easy," this time used by the Arbiter to show how much respect he has for his former enemy. And with that, Halo ended. Master Chief ended in the exact spot he was at the beginning of Halo 1, back in a cryopod, telling Cortana to wake me up when you need me, specifically mentioning when she needs him, not when the Earth needs him or the galaxy, but specifically when she needs him, which is a very subtle way to show that her affection for him was mutual. And then Halo ended and it never was brought back again. It was the perfect ending, where we assumed that Master Chief would have a happy ever after. at some point many years in the future when people found and rescued him. We never had a teaser for anything more that failed to ever live up to any sort of expectations we might have. We never had plot points that ended out of nowhere, and we never had a soft reboot. It was perfect. And I truly do believe that the campaign of Halo 3 is perfect. It is the perfect FPS campaign, and it was so meaningful for so many gamers at the time, and left a legacy behind that was nearly unmatched. So when I asked the question, does Halo 3 hold up? Halo 3 was kind of the perfect game to start with, because of course Halo 3 holds up. Halo 3 is incredible. But Halo 3 was not just a campaign. In fact, the campaign was just the beginning. And so, let's bring it around back to the menus to describe some of the incredible systems that made Halo 3 what it is. Starting with the multiplayer, which is gone. The servers are down, and I don't really quite know if you could even play the custom games, if they themselves ran on servers. And it's a pretty harsh reality to know that that's just gone forever. Sure, you could play the Master Chief Collection version of the multiplayer, but it just really isn't the same for one major reason. The Halo 3 community was the lifeblood of the game. The fact that there were so many people willing to PvP you, 1v1 you, or build these intricate, incredible custom game maps that they would upload to their file share, or use the theater function to record some of the most insane kills they've ever gotten, once again, that they could upload to their file share and show off to anyone who looked at their profile. This led to so many instances of insane kills, such as grenades being thrown that were then deflected by other grenades, returning them to the sender, and absurd instances of the physics system sending cones into people's head and killing them. Or Rube Goldberg machines made in the Forge system that would utilize the complex physics of the Halo 3 engine to set off a series of chain reactions. And the thing is, the lifeblood of the game is gone. No matter how much you want to play Halo 3 again, you will never resurrect the Halo 3 community. It is behind us, and it will never come back again. You've likely played your last game of Trash Compactor, or Duck Hunt, or the one with the mongooses, where you would try to snipe them off the platform. You've likely played the last custom game with the homies that you will ever play in Halo 3. And that's equally as unfortunate as it is incredible that it ever happened in the first place. And the reason it happened in the first place, the reason such a massive and overwhelming community of players came together to celebrate this game, to play this game, to build parts of this game, was because Bungie implemented tools that we could use to interact with the game and each other, instead of just implying that we should play this game to play it. Without the Forge system being such an incredible tool for building, that probably likely inspired many people to enter the game's development ecosystem in one way or another, was a system that allowed you to create custom maps and custom games, which ran in tandem with the file share tool, allowing you to spread this around and make your custom maps go viral. And if the custom games got so crazy and something intense happened, you could record it in the theater. All of these tools were cyclical with one another to create a situation where communities could thrive. And at the end of the day, Halo 3 was built for us, and we also built Halo 3, the absolute juggernaut that it would become in the game space. And that's one of the ways that Destiny certainly fails, and has historically failed. Destiny seems to imply that you are supposed to already have a sense of community within the game, just because you're playing with people. But the reality is, there's not much you can do outside of just beating the challenges and buying the emotes. There's not a lot of creativity there for the community to flex their skills and create something that will draw other players in. Instead, the devs are more like, look at this meme reference to one of our dev members. Don't you want to spend $5 on the emote or something? I think that's why Destiny has such a flaccid history with its community. It's kind of just a place to go and play a game with your friends. It's not a place where you build anything. It's not a place where you would gather a group of randoms and make new friends. And I don't think it's a place that will be remembered that fondly in the future. The remaining community members of Destiny 2 are basically attributable to the sunken cost fallacy, or sunken time, I guess. They're so invested that they can never really leave, and I include myself in that category, despite really hoping that I was over the game with the 10-year cycle ending. But that's certainly enough talk about Destiny. Halo 3, despite all of the incredible advances that it made to the gaming sphere, with a theater mode that's still to this day unmatched, and the Forge system essentially being a Minecraft before Minecraft. But at the end of the day, at the very least using the old hardware on the old systems, Halo 3 is dead. Long live Halo 3. And so this is an epitaph. What was once a foundry of creativity is now nothing but a ghost town. And while that might leave a pit in your stomach, know that it was bound to happen eventually. We were once Spartans, but now we're Guardians. And Halo 3 was left in a cold storage. Valhalla. So this was the first episode of my Xbox 360 series, which I'm hoping I'll be able to use as a simple, easy project in between larger projects. This one is much longer than I expected it to be. I'm aiming for about 20-minute videos that I could hopefully make pretty easily within a week. I really hope this series does well because I want an outlet to talk about things I enjoy and not just things I criticize. Because I enjoy them so much, I want them to continue to be good. The thing is, a lot of these older games are kind of over. Their reboots have formed and flopped time and time again, but there's no changing how good these titles were originally. So do me a favor and share this around as much as you can to anyone you think would enjoy a Halo 3 video, or people who just like the 360 in general. As well as that, leave me a comment of potential titles that I could have an episode of this series on. I have a handful of games, but I can always just go on eBay and try to find them. And so this concludes the first episode, where I'll be giving Halo 3 a holds up score of eh. Of course the campaign holds up, it's fucking incredible. But it is a really hauntingly empty game that was once so full of life. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's in the past. It's an old game, and it was amazing. And that's all it had to be. And so I hope you enjoyed this first episode and are looking forward to more. I'll see you again hopefully sometime soon. Thanks for watching.